Hello, this is the final message from Jupiter, at least from me, and for now, but you guys can obviously contact the planet or any planet whenever you'd like. Yeah, it's kind of, I guess I just want to say thank you to Jupiter. Shout out Jupiter. Literally, I'm a triple Jupiter sign. I have a Pisces ascendant, a Pisces moon. I am a Sagittarius, and then my Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So it's just like hella Jupiter. And I've learned so much from this planet. And the plant series that I have on here is also thanks to Jupiter, if you're interested in what plant spirits have to say. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. Thank you for those who have been paying attention, and let's see what Jupiter has to say today. Not gonna count that one. Devil in reverse. Great energy to start it off with. In case you guys are interested, this is the Marigold Tarot. I'll also be using the Moonology Tarot, Moonology Oracle deck, the Numinous deck, and then one that's called Astrological Oracle. Yeah, just in case you were wondering. Let me just double check that you can see it on the camera. Okay, so we have the Devil, the Five of Wands, the Four of Swords. And we have the Hermit and the Ten of Cups in reverse. And the King of Pentacles. Alrighty. So, so far, with the Devil in reverse, that's a positive sign to me. That's like the double energy, but you're getting away from it. So a lot of you are breaking bad habits. You're getting out of, you know, possible depression slumps. You might be leaving toxic relationships. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like one of the skeletons is wrapping a snake around the neck of the other skeleton, which is pretty spoopy. There's also, you know, the metaphor of snakes. Maybe some of you are getting away from snaky people. No, that is not a reptilian reference. Yeah, so just like breaking away from that negativity. But I also, like with the Hermit down here, it makes me feel like you guys were kind of, I don't want to say forced, but you kind of had to go and maybe you ghosted people, maybe you know, just went on silent, but I feel like you're kind of by yourself right now. Maybe you're avoiding your friends, especially with the Ten of Cups in reverse. Maybe some of you are like away from your family or away from the people that care about you. And it's not like a negative way necessarily. It can be, but the Hermit is upright. So it just makes me feel like you kind of had to take a pause to get away from everybody, which is different from, you know, isolating yourself. This is like deliberate, healthy isolation, where you're kind of like soul searching. You're just kind of like quieting everybody around you. Because maybe there was some snakes in the grass, you know, maybe there was some people you couldn't trust. But ultimately, you know, it could have just been a bad habit too, not necessarily bad people, but ultimately you just stepped away. Excuse me. So now I'm seeing like a conflict. Maybe you're running into conflict with your loved ones. Yeah, but with the Four of Swords, I just see you like meditating, like pausing, taking a step back. And I feel like you're really grounding yourself and finding your footing. The Five of Wands. Let's see. Can I please get a clarification? Oh, it's two of them. What you're fighting about? What is the conflict coming from? What is the Ten of Cups in reverse about? Well, maybe that's what your conflict is. You might, yeah, just like running into issues with your loved ones. Oh my gosh. The Queen of Swords. Yeah. Because the Queen of Swords makes me think of someone who's very logical, very honest, even if it hurts someone's feelings, kind of cutting through the bullshit. But I mean, it's not in reverse, so I just feel like this is, you know, for the best for you right now. It might leave some other people uncomfortable, or maybe it leaves you uncomfortable, like you might be feeling guilty about kind of isolating yourself, but this is really strong, like grounded, powerful energy right here. We have the Hermit, the Queen of Swords, and then the King of Pentacles. It's just like really stable. And maybe you've had to cut people out, again with the sword. But I just feel like ultimately it's for your good. Like you're just in a meditative space right now. Alrighty. Alrighty, and then this is the Moonology deck in case you were interested or didn't know about it, but everybody and their mother has this card. This deck, so you probably have. A new romantic cycle begins. I feel like that's a message for some of you, not all of you. Just because like the rest of your reading didn't really have anything to do. Your commitment is being tested, yeah. So maybe these people are making you feel guilty, or maybe, you know, you on your own are feeling guilty, but that's just like a sign of you being asked to persevere. Like, do you really want this? Or are you just fucking around right now? Let's see. Bring love into the situation. Okay, so some of you might be a little too cold with the Queen of Swords, and then the Ten of Cups in reverse. So it's just kind of like if you were running into issues with a loved one, or if you're arguing, or maybe you're not even talking, just, you know, leading with love, because right now I feel like you're very heavy on the logic, and maybe that's what you had to do, you know, maybe you were being a little too emotional, and then, not to invalidate your feelings, you know, I'm not saying your reaction or your emotion was unwarranted, but I just feel like you were being a little emotional. And in order to counteract that, you had to be like hella logical. You had to cut people out. And maybe you went a little too far on the other side, and you're just kind of being asked to be a little more soft, I suppose. I hate when there's like two. Can I please get one? I know, it's Jupiter, the planet of excess, but time to take action. Yeah, and then we have the Aries Libra opposition here. holds your vision. So again, a message about perseverance, your commitment being tested, taking action in your romantic cycle, for those of you who you feel that message is for you, fixing your problems. You're kind of being asked to make the first move, essentially. And then like double Aquarius. That's hilarious. You have like the opposites. You have both of the Aquarian ones, and then you have just like regular moons. No astrology. So it says show the world the real you. Yeah. Maybe the love, especially with the Ten of Cups, it's not always romantic or even home love. It could be universal love. And with Aquarius, we do have you know, the humanitarian. So maybe that's a message for you, like the love that you're supposed to bring into the situation isn't necessarily like a romantic love, or even necessarily being nice, but just make sure that like your heart is in the right place, I guess. Kind of like, if you are doing something, try to do it in a way that helps other people, if that makes any sense. I know, it's hard to follow your heart with capitalism. And yeah. Yeah, so I just feel like if some of you have been thinking of pursuing certain ideas because you're thinking like, oh, this is gonna make me money, Jupiter, the planet of abundance and good luck, is advising you to follow your heart and to do things with love, to not just do it because you think that's where the cash is. Even if you do get money out of it, I can't see it going well. I don't know. You got 3 new moons though, and then 2 of the half moons kind of, and then 1 full moon. So I just feel like you're starting a lot of things right now, like new projects, taking action. Again, new romantic cycle for the ones that applies to. We got Aries again, holy shit. So again, like the first sign of the zodiac, it's kind of like new beginnings, focusing on the self and the ego. I recently listened to someone talk about how, and this isn't like trying to fucking be sexist or anything, that's not the point, but she was talking about how when men are in spirituality, a lot of their work tends to circle around ego death, the death of the ego, you know, chaos magic, which is super fucking cool, the idea that you could just put your ego to the side and then test things and see what works, whatever. But she was also talking about like how she was a mother and how when you're cleaning a baby at 3 in the morning, you know, that's not an ego space. Like for women, being raised in patriarchal societies, like you're not really taught to have an ego, to have a personality. You're kind of just told like, oh, your job is to, you know, get married and have kids. And she was also talking about how like, I don't know, like when you learn something when you're young, like sometimes the adults around you will say like, oh, you have to learn to cook for your husband, you know, your future husband. Like why? Cooking is a skill for everybody. Like why do you have to learn that for somebody else? So I just feel like right now you're being asked with the new moon energy and then Aries, like to build your ego. Because so many people are focusing on like ego death, and I don't think a lot of us realize we don't have an ego to begin with. Like we do, but we don't, you know what I mean? Like some of us have a very weak ego, and with the energy of the new moon here, I feel like that might be something that's happening here. Like you don't know who you are, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And who we are changes all the time, so maybe you're in the middle of a change. and you haven't quite finalized that, but I do see it being finalized with the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. And with the Hermit energy, obviously you're reflecting on who you are. But yeah, just kind of like building your ego is the energy I'm getting there. And being assertive with what you want. Because it's like, take action. So yeah, sorry. Sorry, that's kind of a tangent, but I just feel like so many of us, we get so caught up in like worrying about money, worrying about our loved ones, worrying about everything that we forget like who we are, even not even necessarily to worry about ourselves, but just like who we fucking are. Which is wild. And then the moon, look at this energy. Okay, pop off. I love me a good Mars moon you know, combination. So yeah, again, moon, your emotions running high, but I also get the feeling that it would be very beneficial for you to work with the moon and the moon cycles, whatever that may mean for you. If you like the dark moon, if you like the full moon, the new moons. And then Jupiter just confirming, I'm here, popping off. So yeah, just luck, and I just got the word honor in my head. He looks very like confident, very brave, with the hawk down here. That's probably a reference to like the Roman deity, which I'm not familiar with, but yeah, let me just look up hawks real quick, because I feel like they've been popping up a lot. You will not guess what I just found. So I googled it, and it turns out hawks mean honor. Get out of here, you can't make this shit up. But specifically, it means honoring your inner truth and your inner self. So yeah, some of you, I feel like even if you don't have an ego, I feel like, again, we all have egos, but if you have a really weak ego is what I meant. Maybe like your inner truth with the Four of Swords and the Hermit that you had. You can just discover that and then honor it. Confidence, and then what else did it say? It said changes, clarity, the pursuit of your goals and your dreams, dude. Okay, yeah, so I feel like that's a big one, because you keep being told to like follow your heart and to hold your vision and to take action. Pop off. Literally, he's saying go do it, go get it, pop the fuck off, and don't, and hold on to your vision. Is I feel like I should get that tattooed sometimes, because I feel like I start so many projects, and that's kind of like the cardinal energy and Aries energy specifically. Like, they start a lot of things, but like and I'm not calling out Aries, I just mean like the archetype, the general energy of Aries. Like, it starts something and then it has little follow through. Like, when you think of a sign that's a follow through kind of sign, you think of like Capricorn or Taurus. You don't necessarily think of Aries. So yeah, just kind of a reminder to hold on to that. We have Capricorn, speak of the devil, and that's funny because the devil card is Capricorn. Yeah, Capricorns to me are the best of the best. They're literally the GOAT. Literally the GOAT. I mean, come on. My boyfriend's a Capricorn, and when I tell him he's like the GOAT, he kind of like cringes, but more Mars moon energy. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, Capricorns, best of the best. They ruled a 10th house, so again, that's like career. And Leo came up earlier, and then I tried to put it away, and now here she is again. So we'll talk about you in a minute. Capricorns, yes. They rule the 10th house. They're the highest, like, sign in the sky, technically. So it's just like the house of success, the sign of success, perseverance. Again, like, start the project and then hold on to it. Capricorn, yeah, I freaking love Capricorns. Like, no matter what they do, they're always so good at it, which sucks because sometimes they're criminals and they're like the worst of the worst, but whatever they do, they're really good at it. I feel like maybe you're having self-doubts or like self-confidence issues. Aries is a very good sign for confidence. Just kind of saying like, you can do it. You got it. Start the project and then follow through. Luna, the moon, our emotions. So again, tapping into your emotions and like what it is you really want to do and not just like for the money. Obviously easier said than done. Mars, pursuit, like passion, and again the ego, your identity. So for just like forming an identity and then going and getting what you want is kind of what you're being told to do. And make sure that it's what you want with the moon here, not just like, oh, I want it because it'll do this for me, or I want it because it'll impress my parents. Like, it's something that you genuinely have to want. And maybe you don't know what you want yet, and that's okay. That's why they're telling you to form an ego first, go do soul searching with the hermit, and then come back and then pursue the shit out of it. And Leo, the 5th house is creativity, it's love. So again, more messages about love. Creativity, again, what it is, it can be like gaining money and entertainment. So for some of you, that might be a thing with Jupiter and Leo. Jupiter in the 5th house. That's very much like money and entertainment. So, and money off doing what you love. And also, I'm getting more messages about like family and stuff. So maybe that's really important to you. And maybe that's kind of why you're worried about money. You might be like, oh, but my family. Obviously, I'm not telling you like, just forsake your family and go do what you want. Like, obviously, you know, there still needs to be food on the fucking table. But, yeah, I'm being told like there will be luck wherever it is that you want. Wherever you're being creative, wherever you're doing something you love, and kind of like your family is taken care of, especially with the moon and Jupiter. Yeah. All right. Leo. All right, we got Gemini. Oh, Gemini. Mars. Okay, I'm gonna start this over and then I'm gonna try 12 cards and we'll see. So the 1st house, ego, identity. Can we get advice on that? The Sun. So where you're happy, what brings you like energy, again, self-awareness. The Sun is your ego. It literally says ego there too. Childishness, but I don't think like immature childishness again. Oh, and Leo is the Sun, so again, more ego energy. Really tap into fire energy. I feel like that would be useful for you because right now we have Aries, we have Mars, we have Jupiter, which is Sagittarius, and then we have Leo, and we have the Sun. It's literally like we're just missing Sagittarius. So for your ego, it's kind of like where you find your life force, where you find your creativity, what distinguishes you from other people, where do you draw the line, excuse me, and just expressing yourself and your feelings. Excuse me again. Number 2, our house of finances and material goods. You have the moon again. So I feel like where it is that you love doing things, where it is that you're emotionally attached to, I feel like you'll have good luck with your finances. Yeah, gut reactions. So like listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. I feel like it knows your instinct. Gut reactions. I don't know if I said that already. Sorry. Yeah, I think I did. Conditioning, femininity. So conditioning, that one's an interesting word to get because it's kind of like how much of our thoughts about money are conditioned. I think I'm gonna post a, sorry, there's like a like a truck in the back. Let me pause till he goes away. So I'm gonna post a video that kind of goes over how to do shadow work with your views on money. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of that freaking glare. Oh my gosh, I hate it. Yeah. So kind of like reevaluate what are your thoughts about money. What is how do you talk about money? How do your, how did your parents feel about money? How do your friends feel about money? Where do your thoughts like originally come from? Like the earliest memory you can have about these thoughts about money. Yeah, kind of like reevaluating like how much of it do you like actually well, obviously you're feeling it, but I guess how much of it is your own thoughts, I suppose, and how much of it was like conditioned into you. Lineage, another thing, like not a lot of us have, what do they call it, like generational wealth. So just kind of like self-reflection in terms of like money and doing shadow work on that. Just kind of like advice for your second house. So third house, we have our mind, communication, miniature travels, and then of course we have Mercury, so that's it's home. Yeah, I feel like your mind is doing a lot of work right now. It's a little busy bee. And I love that there's a clear quartz there. That means like it can be anything, basically. It says words, thoughts, analysis, information, learning. Yeah, I just feel like you're like just taking in a lot of information. That's kind of like what Geminis do, and Virgos too, obviously, the second Mercury baby. Just taking in like as much information as they can, learn everything you can about something. Kind of like using your knowledge to help you along your way. And I feel like you'll be pretty safe. It's the feeling I'm getting. To be curious, to be full of wonder. Yeah. See, number 4 is our home. How is our home? Of Chiron and Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter, that just makes me feel like it's taken care of. But yeah, so you have a lot of luck, a lot of generosity, optimism, positivity, good stuff. But Chiron is healing. It's like growing pains, amends. Maybe some of you need to make amends, again, with the 10 of Cups in reverse. Forgiveness, cleansing, pain, trauma, generational trauma, shame. So again, just like addressing the generational traumas, the traumas that have been like passed on to you and, have been done onto you. And then addressing self-doubt, again, inherited issues. So I wonder how many of your issues are like actually yours. Like, I mean, obviously at the end of the day, they're still yours because you're still afflicted by them. But like, was it really yours? Like, did you have a financial crisis back in 2008, or did your parents have a financial crisis back in 2008, and now you're scared that you're gonna fall into that same financial crisis? So yeah, reevaluating that, and I feel like a lot of that comes from the home and your upbringing, your childhood. Sagittarius. So we finally have all 3 of the fire signs. The 5th house. So yeah, creativity, Sagittarius. It's just telling you Jupiter. Hanging around your 4th house and your 5th house. So it's a lot of creativity, a lot of expansion. It's telling you to explore, to look into different cultures, to kind of learn about different beliefs and stuff. A lot of spirituality is Jupiter, Sagittarius, being generous. Literally the planet and the sign of good luck. So I just feel like you'll find a lot of good luck there in the 5th house. Let me see if I can find a description for the 5th house. Here we go. So the 5th house: performance, entertainment, creativity, costume, play, love affairs. So again, love might be a message for some of you. Passion, pleasure, parties, children, humor, romance, and a disco ball. A disco ball, cool. But yeah, just kind of like creation, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be like creativity. Oh, you're an artist. Maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're introducing new thoughts at or, you know, a system of doing things at work. I just feel like if it helps the collective, if it helps others, if it's kind of like worldly, I guess. And then again, it says risk taking, which I know some of you don't want to do, and then self-righteous. Being honest, again, with that Queen of Swords energy. Yeah, and being happy-go-lucky and seeking. So again, with that Mercury energy and Sagittarius, you're just like seeking out information. All right, 5th house, 6th house. This is your career, the house of kind of like day-to-day work as well. We have conjunction, empowerment, combines, enhances, strengths, joins forces, intensifies. 6th house. Yeah, it's giving me like 3 of Pentacles energy. So kind of telling you, you have to work with others, like in conjunction. Yeah, at your work. So kind of like as much as you're digging and living your best life in the Hermit energy, like don't forget to join forces when necessary, because that'll strengthen the things that you want to do. I feel like the people around you might have a lot of information as well that might help you on your adventures. Yeah. All right, so 7th house, your relationships. Oh, for the 7th house, we got the 7th house. So again, a lot of the energy is like kind of where it has to be, like the sun in the 1st house. You know, the sun is ego, the 1st house is ego. And the sun is like exalted in Aries as well. We have the 3rd house with Mercury, which it naturally rules. And then generational trauma of Chiron in the 4th house. So yeah, then we got 7th house in the 7th house. So partners, companions. Can we get a clarifier on that? It's totally cool if we can't. North Node, interesting. Okay, well I have my North Node in the 7th house, that's great. It's basically your purpose. You don't have to believe in that. I'm not trying to tell you what to believe. Maybe you don't believe we have a purpose, and that's okay. But basically, kind of like the lessons you're here to learn. I feel like I'm being called out right now. In your house of relationships, I feel like there's a lot to be learned about your relationships, and even about yourself and who you are through the lens of a relationship. Yeah, like a journey to becoming, blossoming, practice, development. Yeah, so I feel like there's just so many lessons that are like being developed in this area of your life. And it's not necessarily romantic partners. It can be business partners, it can be best friends, it can be marriages, you know. And also it says social awareness, which is interesting. So again, like how you relate to the world and like the universe. The people around you are important, obviously, but don't forget like your place in the world, basically, your role, how you're helping others. And how you affect others, because some of you aren't you know, necessarily helping. And I'm not trying to like call anyone out or be weird, but yeah, again, just like make sure like the actions that you choose are to help people and not just for like gain. Yeah, I think the North Node will be moving into Libra soon. I got 2 of them. All right, so let's ask again. 7th house, 8th house. So the 8th house is our house of like other people's problems, you know, inherited problems, and a literal inheritance. It's the house of death. It's the house of regeneration. So I guess I'll just ask kind of like where you need to transform or where there needs to be death. But can be any other message that would like to come through. Capricorn, okay. Serious, authoritative, ambitious, realistic, structured, traditional, wise. Yeah, so I feel like you're being asked to let go of like traditions and things that have been like kind of put upon you, because it says reserved, rigid, disciplined. I don't think Jupiter's telling you not to be disciplined. I think it's just kind of saying like maybe you're seeing things one way too much and you're like being kind of stubborn and kind of I don't like the word realistic because I feel like cynics abuse that word. They're like, I'm just being realistic. It's like, no, you're being a pessimistic asshole, and then you're calling it realistic. So just kind of like checking that. Like, is it really realistic? Like, what are the statistics on it? Are you sure? I don't know. And then, I don't know. I hate speaking, like, generally, because I don't want it to come across like I'm ignoring very real barriers, very real, oppressive systems that are set in place. But I feel like sometimes, people just conflate their cynicism with realism, and that's not true. So kind of, you know, pushing away some of those things, and tradition. And I don't necessarily think it means like don't do it. Oh my god, my brain was like, no, don't do it, don't say don't do it. But oh my god, I just love that Nicki Minaj video. Anyway, yeah, we have rebirth, right? Like, it's not just death, because after death comes rebirth. So it's kind of like build your own traditions, build your get rid of the structure you're using and put another structure on it. Don't just like, you know, go with the flow or be wishy-washy. Yeah, all right, so we have the 9th house, Pluto. Fun, we love that. Transformation energy in the 9th house. So the 9th house is like other cultures. It can be your spiritual beliefs. So again, just like destroying and rebuilding what it is that you believe. The 9th house can also be, here we have, it says higher education. Maybe that's a goal for some of you. Yeah, it says customs, which I think is funny, because customs aren't necessarily our beliefs or what we agree with. It's just kind of like what's always been done, right? So kind of like getting rid of that, or at least, at the very least, you know, reevaluating it. Aspirations. Yeah, so some of you kind of like let your aspirations die is the vibe I'm getting, and it's kind of telling you like, all right, now revive it. Now bring it back to the forefront. Also taboos, which is interesting. I wonder like if there's anything that you were told not to do and now you're just kind of regretting it. Yeah. Getting the vibe that it might be like obsessive behavior about your spirituality, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, just like you're gonna find a lot of, I don't know, Pluto is very like occult based. It's very dark. It's deep. It's digging real deep. So that would be good for regeneration energy. It literally has vultures in a fucking volcano. Cycles. Yeah, breaking cycles, more death and rebirth. Love that. Pop off. All right, in terms of your spirituality, in terms of your culture, in terms of tradition, in terms of, excuse me. I was gonna say traveling abroad, but I'm like, I don't know how that would be relevant, but maybe that's a message for some of you. So 10th house is our house of career. Can we get advice for our career? Jupiter gave us 2. Saturn, which is the natural ruler of the 10th house, and then we have Pisces, which is the mystic. So wisdom and mystic. So yeah, just getting the vibe, maybe some of you are being pushed kind of to pursue something in like a spiritual sense. Whatever that may mean to you. Maybe you want to be a tarot reader, maybe you want to be like some witches sell their services. Maybe it's not witchy at all. Maybe you have some kind of church related service I don't know about, but yeah, just kind of like sharing your wisdom. I feel like, yeah, maybe it's not even witchy at all. I just saw mystic and I was like, brr, but Pisces is creative. It's imaginative. It's healing. Maybe some of you are doctors, especially Pisces rules the 12th house, which rules hospitals and prisons. So I feel like you guys would, not necessarily that you're like prison wardens or anything, but just kind of like helping people that get forgotten about. Be dreamy. Pisces is like an optimist. It's the other side of Jupiter. It's just like eternal optimism, almost to a fault, but yeah, just kind of, it also says self-pity. I feel like some of you are kind of wallowing in your self-pity about your careers. Yeah. And empathetic. So somewhere where you can be compassionate, empathetic, where you can like help other people, where you can share your wisdom. Somewhere with Saturn makes me think of longevity. So I feel like if you're doing something because you're like, oh, I'm pursuing this for the money, or I'm pursuing this because it's gonna get me laid, I don't know your life, that's not gonna last you. Like, it'll only go so far. So it's just they're really saying, like, do something you fucking care about, and do something where you care about other people. And I feel like that's where your best bet is. And again, more ideas of tradition here, maturity. Yeah, maybe a lot of you are maturing in terms of your career ambitions. Addressing restraints, addressing time in terms of what you want to do, what you want to be known for, because the 10th house isn't just career, it's kind of like your public image. Like what kind of mark do you want to leave on the world? Do you want to be that asshole that whatever, you know what I mean. Alrighty. So 11th house, it could be friendships, it could be like humanitarian energy, it could be wild thinking. What do we got here? We got Leo, which is typically on the opposite end of our 11th house. It rules our 5th house, but here it says expressive, creative, loving, playful, warm, overt, self-confident, flirtatious. All right, so if you're getting this bedazzle the shit out of it. Yassify humanitarian work. No, but seriously, the 11th house, yeah, just okay, well, for friendships, like being loving, make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are loving to you and who help with your confidence. Hopefully you're not surrounding yourself with negative people that put you down or anything, but also just this idea of like, you will help other people with whatever it is you're creating, whatever it is that you're expressing your truest self with. I feel like that's where you will do the most humanitarian work. Because sometimes helping the world isn't, you know, like, oh, I went to Africa and I mean, that would be wonderful if we could all be fucking doctors that like helped around the world, right? The world doesn't need another fucking band. But yeah, I mean, sometimes we do help the world. Like, how many musicians have you really connected with that you were like, wow, that song actually really helped me stop feeling sad for a little bit. So maybe that's your calling, and that's how you're gonna help people, as long as it's something you're doing that really expresses yourself, I guess. And then 12th house, the things we don't see, the things we forget, the things we like to bury, the subconscious. That 10th house, I feel like that's gonna be brought to the surface because the 10th house does not let you hide for shit. But it also says careers. Yeah, so there's a lot of shadow work to be done about your career, your achievements. I'm sorry. It says like fame, legacy, purpose. I feel like there's a lot of things you kind of like buried. Like I said earlier, I think I was like, you kind of just let it die. And yeah, I feel like the things you need to address that you're kind of burying revolve your career, revolve your place in the world, how you want to be seen. Again, the legacy that I was saying. Yeah. It also says patriarchy. So for some of you, maybe you have a lot of issues with that you need to address. Maybe some of you have daddy issues that you're not talking about, that kind of affect this. But it doesn't necessarily have to be daddy issues. It could just be like anyone in your family, because you have healing to do. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted them to address, Jupiter? If not, that's okay. So, haha, okay. He's like 12th house to 12th house. So again, your subconscious mind, compassions, your dreams, which you talked about, karma. That's interesting. Because the opposite is, no, I'm lying. The opposite is the 6th house. Never mind. The unseen, healing, spiritual development, guilt. We were talking a lot about guilt earlier, so if some of you have guilt, you need to readdress that. Prayer. Yeah, so just a lot of like career, like your life purpose messages, not addressing family trauma, generational trauma, any other kind of trauma, and just like messages about being yourself, like truly. And if you don't know who that is, that's okay. Figure it out and then go be yourself. Yeah, so thank you so much, Jupiter. I love you and thank you for helping me with my witchy endeavors. And I hope that you guys found this useful. Yeah, I don't know. Thank Jupiter in your own way. It's the planet of luck, so it's a good ally to have. But you can address any of the planets or the luminaries. Or Pluto. I hope you found this helpful. I guess I'll see you in the next one. And I will be leaving a video about money shadow work soon, so if you're interested in that. Thank you.